Hey guys, we are back out in the shed for another project. Today we're going to be cleaning the carburetor on this little 200M. So last time I was actually driving this bike, it was leaking continuously out of this overflow line for the carburetor. It was just leaking fuel out, and it was not running ideally because it was literally leaking fuel. So usually in that situation it might starve a bit, or could possibly get too much fuel if the float is stuck. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna clean out the carb, pull it off the bike, and go from there. Okay, so first thing we gotta do is actually remove the carb off the bike. So if you already got this done, you can pretty much skip these steps. But basically we're gonna let the front go right here, let these bolts go, and I usually let it go right here off the engine as well. These bolts. We'll let the choke cable go, which you'll see there's the choke cable. Here's the little loosening bracket. And then on the back side, there's usually a clamp back right here. So we'll let that all that stuff go, and then we'll pull the carb off. Okay guys, so once you got the tank lifted off, and you got your fuel line disconnected, you can go ahead and loosen up the top of this cap for the throttle cable, and then it just pulls up. Note the way it came out as well. You see that spline piece right here. It has to be on the left hand side of the bike and line up down here. But yeah, you can see all the dirt on this already, so this is definitely going to need to be cleaned. These bolts right here, these are 8mm, and the bolts that actually secure, or the nuts that actually secure the carburetor, they are 10mm. So I'm going to go ahead and take these out. We'll get the front part of the carburetor disconnected, and then it's just a clamp on the back. Okay, I just noticed on this bike, because I'm after seeing so many different orientations for that clamp. If you actually look through this hole, you can actually see the Phillips. That's for that clamp. So that's cool. That actually lines up with that hole. First time I've actually seen that. Usually the clamp is just put on in a random way, but in this case it actually looks like it's put on correctly. Okay, so I'll loosen off that clamp. We'll pull the carburetor out. We're good to go. Okay, so we got the carburetor here on the bench. We're ready to start trying to clean this. Most likely, this is definitely hasn't been cleaned in forever, because this is the bike that was parked for 25 years. So I'd say that even if there's a small bit of fuel in it, like the ethanol in the fuel will basically clog things up. So there must be a reason why I'm getting fuel leaking out of here continuously. Okay, so I just went ahead and drained out a little bit of the fuel that was sitting in the bowl, and opened up that drain screwdriver. So let's start taking apart this carburetor. We already got the throttle out. I still got that attached to the bike. I'll show you guys how to take that off after we're done. But you can see here on the carburetor on the bottom here, you got 3 Phillips, 3 screws. That's what holds the bowl itself on. Right here, this is the fuel air ratio screw. We don't need to touch that for now. So we'll take out these 3 screws and then haul off this bowl. So the bowl is off. I just took out those 3 screws that holds it on. You see the 3 holes there. And now we're into the carburetor. It's actually not too complex, these carburetors. They're one of the simple designs. So you got your main jet right there. You got your little pilot jet right here, the smaller one. And you got your fuel to air ratio mixture screw. And then over here we got our float. Underneath it is the float valve. You can see the carb itself doesn't look too horrible, but if you look in here at the jets, you see this main jet with all the dirt around it. And let's check out the inside of the bowl anyways. It's usually a good indication. Oh yeah, you can see all the old ethanol from the old fuel sitting in the carb once upon a time. Look at all that dirt. It almost looks like pieces of paint. So for taking out the main jet, you're going to need a 7mm wrench. Once you break it free, you can just back it loose by hand. Try to do this without tipping the carburetor over. So you take out your main jet, you see these little orifices, these little tiny bitty holes. You want to be able to see through those holes. So like if you put this up to the light, shine the flashlight through, make sure that you can see through the holes. But we're going to be cleaning that. That's the main jet. Same thing with this little pilot jet. Just back this loose with a screwdriver, flat top. It's going to have little orifices as well. Make sure you can see through them when you clean them. Now this one right here, this is the one we got to be particular with. This is your air fuel ratio mixture screw. So what you want to do is remember what position it's in. Like you can see, I can tell which orientation it's in, but you want to count how many times it is to screw it all the way down, like to the right. So take your screwdriver, screw it in, and count how many turns it is, because we're going to take this fully apart, and when you put it back together, you're going to put it all the way in and then count back those turns. So I just tighten this all the way in. I tighten it 2 turns, a tiny bit past 2 turns. So when I go to finally reassemble, I'm going to tighten it all the way in just like this, and then we'll go back 2 turns. Some bikes were different, but most of the 200s, like ATCs, they are about 2 turns out. It's just this is your air fuel mixture screw. Some people like to adjust them. I like to leave it whatever it was. So I'm just backing this out. Lay that over there. Down here there should be like a sealing washer and a spring. You can see how dirty all this is. Wow, it's really dirty. So we got this stuff all out. We got main jet, pilot jet, fuel mixture, air fuel ratio mixture screw out. Now we're going to take out this pin right here. I'm going to get something skinny to kind of push through it, maybe like a small Allen key or something skinny. We're going to push this pin out, take up the float and the float needle. So I just took like a little mini eyeglass screwdriver, pushing out this pin. It's a little bit stiff, so just continue pushing out the pin. Get the pin out. So now this little float valve and float assembly will just pull up out of place. You can see underneath us here, there's the little float valve. Yep, it just slipped right there. Okay, so if we look down here, you can see all dirt down. Oh wow, all the dirt. Alright, so we basically got the carb disassembled. The only thing we got left to do now is, you see this ring right here, this rubber rings, kind of like an O-ring material. And right here, you want to pop that off, get that out of place, and then we'll start cleaning, because usually the cleaners, they don't like this rubber and they can eat the rubber apart, so make sure you take the rubber off. So I'm just soaking everything down here. You can see all the green gunk floating. If you had like some people got a tub of like parts cleaner or something, you can throw this down in it. I don't have a tub, so I'm just doing what I can with a spray can, basically. Try to get these orifices cleaned. Most of these are actually blocked because I was trying to spray through it, and like the carb cleaner is only coming out of one, so I'll have to use like the compressor and see if we can blow some of that dirt out. You can actually buy like a new carb kit, like with new jets and new O-rings, but I'm gonna see if I can just keep this going for now. If I have to, I don't mind switching it out in the future. It's not a big deal. But yeah, just keep cleaning this. Try to get it better than what it was. That's the goal here. So I'm just letting this all just soak here. We got the bowl still soaking in. It's just going to be a quick, dirty clean. Try to get it as clean as possible. It's not going to be perfect, but the main thing is I got all these orifices, and for the jets, they're all clean again. So the bike is going to run better. But also you can see over here, I have another carburetor I have to do now in a little while. This is one of the OEM carbs I got kicking around, so get that carb done next. But I'll let this soak in a bit, give it 10-15 minutes, clean it all off again, and then we'll stick it all back together. So with sticking things back together, it basically goes back in the same place it was. The only thing we'll have to keep an eye on is the air fuel mixture screw with the spring. That has to go back in all the way and then 2 turns back out the same position it was in. But everything else, like this main jet, we literally just screw it all the way back down to where it was. I'll put everything in finger tight, and then we'll tighten it up with the screwdriver. and a wrench. Let's see, what else do we have? Pilot jet. Got the main jet tightened, pilot jet tightened. Now we'll hook on this little float valve back into here, into the float, and put that into position, and then we'll put the little pin back through. So that literally just slides back into place. The little float valve is hanging there in its proper position. And now we got the pin through. So got the sealing washer, spring, and that little air fuel mixture screw back in. So this is the only one, the one that actually sits outside the cover. You can see the cover shape right here. We're going to screw it all the way down, like all the way righty-tighty. And then we're going to back it out 2 turns, because that's exactly where it was set up to when before I took it apart. So that's presetting or resetting back to the proper air-fuel ratio that the bike had. So all the way in tight, and then back it out 2 turns again. So we basically have everything back together here now. I'm going to put the screws in, and we'll go ahead and just clean out the outside a little bit. Okay, so I just slid the car back in the boot down below. I gotta tighten up the screw once again. You can see the screw, that's down through that hole. Where's my finger doing? So we'll tighten up that screw, we'll lock it into place. And then down here we'll put that little boot back on that goes onto the engine. Put this back in the right direction. And we'll try it out. We'll see how good the clean was. Okay, so we got all the bolts re-tightened. And now all we got left to do is put on the choke cable again. It just slides back into that groove. And then you actually hook like this little hammer looking piece or cylindrical looking piece back into right here. I guess we'll try it out now. We'll see if she starts up. Okay, so throttle's connected. We got the choke back on. We got to put on the fuel line again, so we'll stick this fuel line back down there, get that back put on. We'll give the bike some gas, and we'll see how she runs now. As you can see, guys, the bike is running like a champ. And that wasn't even a thorough clean, it was just a quick dirty clean. Reused the same old parts. Alright, so I need to order the O-ring like and the gasket for the bowl for this carburetor. So I'll have to get on top of that. But for now, we can still drive the bike and have a bit of fun on it, and it's running good again. So hopefully you guys found this video helpful, and you can clean your carb or get your bike running again. This bike is running good again now, and she's not leaking all over the floor. So thanks for watching, guys. Feel free to like this video and subscribe, and if you enjoy any content, feel free to tag along. Thanks for watching.